everyone, and welcome once again to Caleb Likes Books. Today I have another book review for you, which is for Star Wars The New Jedi Order, The Final Prophecy by Greg Keyes. This is book 18 of the New Jedi Order series, so we're finally almost to the end. I have one book left after this, which is very exciting. So coming up on the end of the series. And I was really hoping to enjoy this one because I have loved a lot of the New Jedi Order so far. There's been a few, kind of low points so far, but the vast majority of these books I have enjoyed, and quite a few of them I have really loved, and so I was really hoping that this series would end strong. Preceding this was the Force Heretic trilogy, which the first two books I thought were okay. But I loved the third one, and so I was really hoping I'd love this one, and hopefully I'll love the last book in the series as well. But I was really hoping I'd really like this one because I wanted the series to end strong, and thankfully I really loved this book as well. So if the last book is amazing as well, which I've heard it is, then this will be a really strong ending for the series. So to get started talking about some things with this book does a very good job of following up the Force Heretic trilogy. In the Force Heretic trilogy, over the course of that trilogy, you had the main characters of the series discovering, at least on the Republic side, or they're not called the Republic anymore due to the war that's going on, but the Republic side, the good guys, discover the planet Zonama, which is this kind of living planet, and this book follows that up quite a bit. So the basic idea of this book is you have the two sides of the war. You have the Yuuzhan Vong, and you have the Republic, or Galactic Alliance, or whatever they're being called now. And both of them are like, okay, we need to go to this planet. So, as a result of that, certain members of the Yuuzhan Vong, namely Nominor, who is kind of posing as this prophet character and kind of using some of his fellow Yuuzhan Vong to his own ends, basically offers to the good guys, hey, let's go to this planet together. And so that's basically the setup for this book, is that the first little bit of this book is them kind of setting that up, and then you have Nominor as well as a couple other Yuuzhan Vong, Corran Horn and Tahiri, all kind of get together and head to Zonama together, which is really interesting. So that setup itself I really love. I love the idea of having, both sides of this war coming together and working together, regardless of like ulterior motives, because obviously the Yuuzhan Vong characters have some ulterior motives going on. But regardless of that, seeing these characters come together and actually interact in a way that's not, part of the war. Like, it is part of the war, but they're not like fighting. They're like actually like interacting together and talking to each other and having discussions and things is super interesting. And I thought that was a really interesting idea, especially considering they're going to this planet, which is like a living planet. And the Force Heretic trilogy, and even the book Rogue Planet before that, which kind of set up the whole Zonama thing, those books kind of hinted like the Yuuzhan Vong are very much like, use a lot of living, technology. Basically, they don't use regular technology. They use like living beings as technology and different things like that. And Zonama is a sentient living planet. There's some connections there, possibly. So this book kind of follows that up as well, because, the Republic people want to go to this planet because it'll help them in the war effort, probably. And the Yuuzhan Vong want to go there because that seems really interesting, that this planet seems to have so many interesting similarities and parallels to the Yuuzhan Vong themselves. And so you have both these people, or both these groups want to explore this planet for different reasons, and so they come together in order to do that together. And I thought that was really cool. I also, like I just said, loved the interactions between characters in this book. Again, seeing these two sides of the war coming together and like talking and discussing like this new thing that's been discovered that basically changes a lot of things about the interactions between them, might even change like the tide of the war. All that stuff is super interesting. Seeing the ways that the Yuuzhan Vong are interpreting what this might mean for their culture is super interesting. just all kinds of cool stuff with that in terms of character interactions between, you know, the Jedi and the Yuuzhan Vong. And it's especially interesting as well because they're going with Jedi, who are they are very much opposed to in the war. So just a lot of really cool stuff in there. I loved the Yuuzhan Vong characters in this book. Again, you have Nom and Nor doing his thing. You have a couple other Yuuzhan Vong characters who I thought were really interesting. You had Tahiri, who I grew to really love in the Force Heretic trilogy, who was excellent here. Corran Horn's good here as well. Just all around good character stuff. You do also have another side of the story, which is like Wedge and Han and Leia and things like that, which are done well. If I do have anything negative to say about the book, I did not love their side of the story as much. I really loved the stuff on Zonoma Sakat with the Yuuzhan Vong and with the Jedi, but I did not love the stuff aside from that quite as much. It was good, but it was one of those things where it's like, there's this good part, but there's this other part that you really want to get to. So it's kind of one of those situations. You know, all of this book was really good, but there was a certain part of it that I really was more drawn into. But yeah, just really cool character stuff, cool character interactions. Love the world building once again. Zonoma Sakat is just a fascinating concept, and you get extra bits of world building about it in this book, and all that kind of thing. It's just really excellent all around. Just had a great time with this book. And that pretty much wraps up my thoughts on it, really. Just loved a lot of the ideas that were going on here. The story was really interesting. Seeing the different twists and turns that came their way, especially towards the end of the book. The interactions between the characters, seeing these two sides of the war coming together for this common goal was really cool. Just a lot of really interesting stuff going on in this book that I thought was absolutely awesome and fascinating, and I loved it. This is definitely one of my favorite books in the New Jedi Order, I would say. So as far as a rating out of 10 that I would give The Final Prophecy, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. Like I said, one of my favorite books in the series. Just had a great time with it. Super interesting and thought-provoking and just really fun to read. Lots of interesting, like, little bits of stuff in this that really kind of got my mind going of, like, what direction is the end of this series gonna go? Because I think that bringing in this planet of Zonoma Sakat, even though it kind of, you know, feels like it kind of came in just kind of at the end, which is not necessarily a problem, but it's kind of like this thing just kind of showed up, but it throws such an interesting wrench into things and is just such an interesting addition, and I really love it. So I'm very excited to see how this series concludes with the final book, which is The Unifying Force. So that's pretty much it for this review. Let me know in the comments if you have read The Final Prophecy and what you thought of it. If so, if it's also one of your favorite books in the series, if it's one of your least favorites, if it's somewhere in the middle, let me know in the comments. And you can be expecting to see a review for the final book in the series on the channel very soon. I'm planning to read that here probably within the next couple weeks. So that's pretty much it for this video. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.